Drummers I Like podcast, episode number 16. Hey everybody, welcome to the podcast. This is episode number 16 and I am your host, Richard Ducat. I'm coming in straight out of Santa Monica from the Drummers I Like headquarters. On the other line, as usual, is my host and confidant, Kevin.
What's going on, everybody? Richard,
Man.
you sound like you're having some troubles there.
No, I just told you before, my computer's blowing up right now. Sometimes duty calls and
That's right.
I regretfully forgot to call back my head of sales for my marketing company. So, dick move. Don't do that, guys. So he's blowing me up like, dude, what happened? So, getting that situated. But besides that, man, everything's been going pretty good this week. It's been a busy yet fun week, and Drummers I Like's kicking ass. How's it going for you?
Good, man. Good. Just same old, same old. Staying busy, playing, working, podcasting, doing the thing.
Always. Yeah, I mean, we've been laying these shows out. I'm excited. We're ahead of schedule right now.
That's right. Can't argue with that.
Yeah, so I'm actually excited about today's show because I think we've been trying to work this one out for quite some time, and getting the date nailed down with someone who's touring as much as this guy is not easy. So, Kevin, you want to tell our listeners who's coming on today?
Today we have Pablo Viveros from Chelsea Grin.
Bam. Yeah.
Bam.
I'm super excited, actually, because we just saw him at Warped Tour, me and Zach, when we were there a couple months back in Pomona.
Indeed.
He is so freaking crazy at playing drums in general, but this style of music, he's just like, he's got that vibe. You know, like you go to a show and you see a lot of bands that play this music. I mean, you see a drummer that's playing metal that's like in the pocket, so to say. He's just got that. He's like very much a very pocket player for a style of music that doesn't essentially call for that feel. If I'm saying that right.
I get what you're saying. He puts a lot of feel into it.
Yeah, dude. It just looks nice. It looks nice, and I'm excited because I want to talk to him a lot about that today and pick his brain a little bit on his playing style.
Yeah, no, he's a busy guy. They do a lot of touring. They're always doing something, and they have a huge following. So it's cool. It'll be cool to talk to Pablo and kind of pick his brain a little bit and see where some of his metal and heavy chops come from. You know.
Hell yeah, man. I agree. But you know what? Before we kick this show off, I just want to remind all our users that in the show notes below, there is a link to go and review the show. We would love to hear your feedback. We want to know what's going on in your head when you listen to the show. Stuff that you think sucks, stuff that you think rules. And, we want to cater to you. So hit that button down below in the review for iTunes if you're on Google Play or you're on Stitcher. It's pretty easy in Stitcher. Just scroll down. I think the review section button is down by the player. And then for Google, we're still trying to figure that out. Just go to the Play Store. Go to review in the search tab and search Drummers I Like podcast review. It should pop up. That's the only way I seem to be able to find it. And if
you have found a good way to do it.
Yeah, hold on. I will put it in our show notes too. I'm not going to get into
that's
the computer
a great
side
idea.
right now, but I'll put it in the show notes for the users. But I did figure out a way. I'll put a link in. And then I also want to remind everybody, if you're not already following us on our social media channels, it's at Drummers I Like for everything except Facebook, in which it's /Drummers I Like. And if you're on YouTube, just type our name in and you'll find our channel with all our great videos. We put the podcast on YouTube as well as tons of awesome drum videos, some old, some new. And we're going to be putting a lot more up here in the future. So go check it all out because it's pretty sick. I'm not going to lie. But without further ado, do you think we should get this started?
I think so. I'm ready.
Yeah, let's do it. Hey everybody, welcome to the Drummers I Like podcast. Today is another sick day because we have brought on Pablo Viveros. He plays for Chelsea Grin. He is endorsed by Remo, DW, Zildjian, Vic Firth, and Drum Dots. And dude, I've been watching you play for a while now, and especially over the last year, I've just seen you become this shredder. So I am freaking stoked to have you on the show. I can't wait to hear what's inside your mind. What's up, man? How are you?
Dude, thanks for the kind intro. I'm just chilling, enjoying some time at home. Stoked to be here on the podcast.
Yes, we
Yeah,
are.
thanks for coming on.
Of course, I'm
Yeah.
There's so many people out there, and for you guys to be like, Pablo's probably interesting. We'll give it a shot. Makes me excited.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and yeah, you're more than interesting, man. We are just around 40,000 listens a month, so hopefully we get the ears of some of your fans. And if they don't know about you, they're gonna have to go check you out now because you are a freaking shredder, dude. You are a shredder, and I can't wait to really learn more about your background, your playing style. A lot about what you've listened to and what's helped you develop your playing, your influences, everything. And like every Drummers I Like podcast episode, I want to start by getting to know you, getting to start from the beginning. Where did Pablo start with music? How did he learn to play drums? What led him down the path to joining Chelsea Grin?
Oh man, how much time do we have?
We got all the time in the world.
All the time, buddy.
um, Really, my dad played drums, so I was always around a kid. So we had a little jam room back in our little house in Mexico, and my older brother plays guitar, and so he'd always be playing. And I couldn't tell you how old I was, but I have this very, very vivid memory of jamming with my older brother, like trying to at least, because I didn't really know what I was doing. It kind of just came really natural to me, and I kind of figured it out. I don't know, but I think I was probably like 5 or 6 when I was like playing with my brother, but I didn't really take it seriously until we moved to the States in '99, and then I got my first real drum set. I think I was in 8th grade. My brother bought a kit and with the intentions of playing it, but then he ended up just kind of being kind of pretty bad at drums. So he stuck to guitar and then let me keep the kit.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Hey, that's a good way to acquire it.
yeah, exactly. I was like, I don't know if you're cutting it, man. We're gonna have to trade. And then I just started playing every freaking day after school. I'd come home and forget about homework. Nothing else existed to me but just like playing through Blink 182 albums and all the hot pop punk that was happening back. I think that was in 2003. So I just self-taught for about 3 years of my like playing career, I guess. And then my dad decided to try to enroll me in lessons, and I was a teenager, and I thought I was cool because I could go fast, but I didn't really, I wasn't shit, and so
Somebody
yeah,
made you slow everything down, and it's like, oh yeah, all these things that I need to work on. It's a lot easier to notice when you slow everything down, isn't
exactly. And
it?
back then that did not matter to me. I went into with this dude in Salt Lake. His name is Sneeze, and he's like the teacher around here, or at the time he was. I don't know about now because it's been 12 years or something. But I went in, and he's like, "All right, well, let's get started." And I was like, "Okay, cool. I'm here. I'm gonna get better." And he's like, he showed me the sheet, and he's like, he showed me how to read it, and it was a rock beat. And he's like, "All right, well, play it." And he set the metronome, I think, at like 120 or something like that. And so I'm playing this rock beat, doom, 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 and I'm like, "All right, cool." And he's like, all right, next beat. And then it was just different variations of it, but it was all super, simple stuff. And I didn't really understand his curriculum. So I think I went to one more class after that, and then I bailed.
You're like, I don't think this is for me.
I'm out of here. And I don't know if he actually had like a cool curriculum that was gonna be coming up, and I just had to start at the very beginning because I was like an advanced. I knew what I was doing, but I didn't know anything about like any rudiments or anything really about dynamics or anything like that. And at the time, I didn't really know that I wanted to learn that stuff because, like I said, I just Travis Barker and Aaron Gillespie and just like hit
You're
hard.
like, these guys aren't doing this stuff. Like, why am I gonna sit here and like, it's like I could do that stuff, blindfolded. What do I need to break it all down for?
So and little did I know they actually are like both killer, drummers that can do it, all that stuff. It just they didn't apply it to the earlier records. At least I didn't notice Travis Barker did because I was just a kid. So the lessons didn't last very long, and I regret that every day of my life because fast forward 12, 13 years later, and now I'm 27 and trying to freaking apply paradiddles to my playing, and it's like I could have just been doing that if I would have stuck it with Sneeze.
Yeah.
But
I feel the same way.
Yeah. We all live with some regrets in our playing. I mean, my regrets were when I went through like high school. I played all in band, but I decided to do horn. I played trombone like all through middle school and high school. And I look back, it's like if I would have just played drums, I would have learned so many useful things that I could use now.
that's so true, man. So true. I did band in junior high. I didn't do anything cool in band because I wasn't very good at reading. So I think one in a couple songs I played the cymbals, and then I'm pretty sure I played a break drum one time for a song.
Okay.
It was I think it was 2 notes throughout the whole song that I just had to hit a break drum with a mallet.
Yeah. I can remember them hitting break rotor. It was like the actual like the old school drum break kind of rotor.
Yeah.
I remember somebody brought one in all painted for the percussionist to play, like in middle school.
Yeah,
Like,
that's when it was. It was super weird.
and I can remember stuff like that. That's funny. Complete different sides of the country, but all the same age group being introduced to the same very odd musical instrument.
They're all the same songs.
That's funny. That's funny.
I decided to give jazz band a try on the kit, and it's a funny story about that. I was in ninth grade, and I had shown up to class a little early, and I was just jamming on the kit. And my teacher was like, "Why don't you sit in for this period on the kit, and we'll have whatever." I don't remember the other drummer's name. Sit it out. And so I played that whole period, and then they were like, "All right, well, yeah, I think there's definitely a spot for you here." And then I came back the next time, and I wasn't actually reading the song. I was just playing what I thought was supposed to be happening.
Sure.
And it worked out for me the first day, and then the second day, apparently I just botched it, and our teacher was like, "Are you reading the song? Are you reading the right song?" And I got caught, and I was like, "Well, no, I don't know how to read. I'm not going for it," and then I got kicked out.
Ah.
So that was very short lived too.
See, it's too bad because I mean, it's too bad the guy didn't be like, well, because obviously he recognized you had some talent, and it's like, well, help the guy out. Be like, just bring him through basic reading and just start slow. I ended up going back and like doing just reading with a teacher like after I was playing in like a thrash metal band probably around that 02, 03 time, and I was working a full-time job then. And I started doing lessons again then, and all he had me do was just reading skills. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And it's like you would have thought he would have kind of honed it, but man, kick you out. That's no good.
yeah. I think it was because I lied about it. Maybe.
Well, I mean, it's still though, that seems like the thing. You want to play. It's what you want to do. So you don't want to just be like, oh, obviously I can play, but I can't read.
Yeah,
But
I could have gone about it a different way, but
Hey, hindsight's 2020. It's in the
exactly.
past.
But yeah, and then I think I played my very first show in a band when I was 12 or 13. Uh, it was a pop punk band. It was called Three Star Hotel, and it was terrible. I listened to the old demos that we put out, and we recorded everything like without a metronome. It was a decent recording, but we didn't do it to a metronome. I think we tracked everything, we tracked it all live, so that you could hear the fuck ups here and there. And then I do there. We just weren't very good, but it was cool.
Yeah, it was in the learning phase,
Yeah, exactly. And I thought we were the shit back then.
Yeah.
And I think I think that band lasted around 2 years, I think, before I started getting into wearing all black and having long hair and getting into the screamo music that was starting to happen around that time. And I was like, pop punk's so fucking whack. I want to play heavy shit.
I can't believe I ever played that music.
We're two peas in a pod, Pablo. Oh, it's the same way.
How old are you?
I'm 28.
Oh yeah, see, I turned 28 this year, so
Yeah.
Cool. Yep. So I was the same way. I was into Blink, and I was a 311, and I was in all these like specific bands, and then I got into like, I don't even want to say it. I got into like Hawthorne Heights and the Silverstein first, and I was like, fuck that. This is metal. I'm not saying anything otherwise.
See, I'm a little older than both of you guys. I'm 32, but I was definitely in a bit of a generation kind of ahead of you guys with that. Because for me, it was like, there was a little bit of new metal that probably ushered in some of the heaviness, but then it was like went right to Metallica, and then it just like was like, oh, hey, listen, this is Slayer, and then it was like, oh my God, and then we had Morbid. I'm born and raised in Florida, and we had Morbid Angel over in Tampa, so. All of a sudden you're just like immersed in death metal, and I just from there it was just extreme. So
yeah, when I was just getting into playing in a band, Kevin's band was already playing with like Recon and shit, and they were the heaviest band in our town, the heaviest.
Sick.
Well, it was a long time ago now, but it was a long time ago now. But it was fun times. We did have a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's what matters.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I think I have to thank my older brother because my older brother's 36, I want to say, and so I was kind of always also listening to all the music he was listening to. So he's the one that showed me Deftones and Korn and Slipknot and those bands. I was jamming that shit when I was like in 4th grade. So I thought that was kind of cool, and I think those are bands that kind of stuck with me for life. And it's funny because I feel like they kind of, not necessarily Slipknot, but I feel like Korn kind of dropped off for a little while, and I didn't hang out with anybody that listened to Korn. That was my age.
Okay.
And so it's cool to see that people are starting to listen to Korn. Like people that are my age are jamming Korn more now than they were when we were 15, 16 years old.
Yeah, that's very true. And actually, you're seeing even younger kids exposed to it too that definitely would not have really listened to it, but which is great.
Korn and Limp Bizkit and Deftones. I think those bands were definitely the ones that helped bridge that gap for me into really getting into the heavier stuff. And I gotta say, it's really funny that I listen to like Veil, Maya, Periphery, bands like that, and just kind of going back now, and I'm sure you feel the same way, it sounds exactly like what they're writing now. So I think Limp Bizkit and Korn, they were kind of onto something. Because now I'm hearing that style emerge more than ever, especially in what people call like gent and all that. That's like a more melodic new metal, I would say.
Wow, maybe a little more technical.
That's a better word, technical.
Yeah, it's not as radio friendly now as Korn. Korn was a mainstream radio band.
I can't believe it to this day. It was so heavy.
Yeah, it's you go back and you listen to Blind, and that song is ridiculously heavy. and it was all of
Terrifying too. Like it's like Danza heavy.
It's heavy stuff. It's heavy stuff.
such a good generation of music. Like that I think it was the Family Values tour,
Oh
'99.
yes, yes, that's right. Family values. That's right.
Korn, Limp Bizkit, Rammstein, Orgy.
There was a, I mean, dude, you look back through those. If you find like the lists from those tours that they did back then, and look at the band lists of names. I mean, especially for me because I really remember that stuff, and I haven't listened to any of it in probably a really long time. So it's
You
like
gotta
it's like stepping back in time, you know?
you go revisit it and you'll be like, I can't believe I ever stopped listening to this.
Yeah, right, right,
Right.
absolutely.
Right.
You know, it's not by choice almost, but you just kind of move on. You go into different things, and you know, you just it gets away from you. You know,
Yeah, for sure. I'm the
absolutely.
worst with like when I hear something new, I just overplay the shit out of it.
I do the same thing. I'm just like, no, I like that song, and I want to hear that song over and over again because it's that good.
And over and over and over until I
And then
don't
you're
know.
like, I can't listen to the song anymore. Yeah,
And
yeah,
I'm
I
so
feel you
bad
there.
at that. My wife always calls me out on it too because I'll be just I'll have the aux cable in the car and she'll be like, "Didn't we just listen to this song like 2 songs ago?" I'm like, "No, I don't know what you're talking about." Always
So
call.
from there, I was just gonna say, just to kind of get back into it, kind of from where we left off there too, was you know, from the time where you kind of got out of doing lessons and got kicked out of your jazz band, kind of where did your playing carry from there?
From there, I went to playing strictly Blink 182 and Newfound Glory covers with a few friends of mine in high school. Sorry, in junior high. Um, there was me and my friend Kobe, and then our friend Tony. Tony played bass, Kobe played guitar, I played drums. We never had a singer because no one could sing, and then there was like a couple dudes that could sing, but either they had like terrible time. It just never worked out, and so we always just ended up just playing covers at my parents' house all day, just overkill. And I wanted to have a legit band so bad, and it just the people just didn't really. You know how now literally everybody plays in a band. When when I was in junior high, like nobody played in a band. It was all about being a skater. And so like all my homies would be skating and I'd go skate with them too here and there, but um it was just me, Kobe and Tony that were like wanting to be in a band and kind of had the closest thing to a band in our school. And we played our talent show in 8th grade. And oh, you know what? Now that I think about it, I didn't play that with them. That in 8th grade, I played the talent show with my cousins, and I played guitar and sang. And then my other cousin played drums. My other cousin played bass, and we played "Damn It" by Blink 182.
Okay.
Because that's everyone's first song that they ever play.
That's
And
fun.
I remember there was 2 assemblies, so we had to do it twice. And before the before the first one, I had borrowed my brother's crate half stack, and I was messing around with it. It was one of the ones that came with it had like effects built into it, and I was fucking around with the phaser. And when it was time to come on, I forgot to turn the phaser off. And I played the entire the first time we played the song, I played the whole thing with a phaser on the guitar.
Oh, I bet that was epic.
Oh man, it sounded ridiculous. And then this because I was so nervous. It was the first time that I was on stage.
Sure.
Um, so I didn't even notice. And I for the second assembly, I was like, oh shit, I gotta fix that. But I played guitar and sang, and it was terrible. But I was stoked, and where my mom was proud. But my mom is a huge she hates when I play guitar. She hates it. She's like, "You belong on the drums."
She knows. She knows. Mama knows. Like,
She knows for sure. I started playing guitar just because um I think it was just out of boredom. I just wanted to be like I want a guitar. I want to start playing guitar. So my brother comes to the rescue, gets me a guitar, and I just kind of learned a power chord and just again Blink 182 songs and just played guitar here and there, and then so fast forward to ninth grade, and that's when I started. That was the full year of Blink 182 covers with my friends, and that's when I started playing drums again.
okay.
Came out of my drum hiatus to try to be Travis Barker.
You listen to Mama, and you're like, all right, Mama said get back on the drums. So
Yeah, I was like, fine, Mom.
that's
And then
great. That's great.
yeah, spent that year just getting better at Blink 182 covers. I really didn't practice anything. I just wanted to be fast and play hard, and
Obviously, Travis Barker was playing a huge influence on you, and I
Oh,
mean, you were
shit.
playing along to his stuff, so it wasn't bad stuff to be playing to, that's for sure.
that's for sure. And I think that first kit that I had was a Sonar. I don't remember the series. It wasn't a very sick kit. And then after that, my dad bought me a bigger kit because the Sonar one, it was a small kit. It was like a 20-inch kick, 12 or 10, 12, 14 toms. And I was telling my dad I wanted a bigger kit, so he went on. I think it was at a yard sale actually that we found it. It was an old Tama, but it was it was like it wasn't a Tama. It said by Tama. I think it was called a Camco
Oh yeah,
by Tama.
that's an old school kit.
Yeah, it was old.
Camco was an old vintage company that actually ended up getting like absorbed by Tama,
Is that what it
but
was?
originally they were their own company, kind of.
Okay.
Yeah. But that was the next. It's funny because you have a lot more in common with Rich than than you guys know, because when Rich started playing drums in the warehouse back in the day, he also had a very like old kind of podunk Sonar kit, like one of the early like Force 2002 or something like
That
that they
blue one.
called them.
That's
Something.
what it was. That's what I
Yeah,
had.
see.
2000. It was like
Force Brothers.
it was like a. I swear to God, if you had the same finish, I'm gonna lose it. It was like a matte maroon.
Nope, I had the blue satin.
All
It was
right,
matte. It was a matte blue, but it was
matte.
like
That's
satin
blue.
blue or something. I don't know.
that's so funny. So yeah, it's totally the same kit.
I love that drum set. You know what, too? I had the silver Zildjian cymbals. Do you remember those?
No, I do not. I don't. I thought that was. No, I don't remember those at
They were
all.
the platinums or the titanium. Oh God,
Oh
it's so
yeah, with
I
yeah. Remember they had like the
destroyed those.
orange labels on them that looked
Yeah, it was
really
like
weird.
gold label. Yep.
They sounded. Actually, I don't remember now. My ear was definitely not trained then, so they could have sounded awesome. But I don't. I
They
always
were they
remember
were they
hating
were a
them.
lot better than like the really base model like ZBT. I mean the stuff that's they're meant to be like low cost entry level kind of cymbals. You know what I mean? They sounded a little bit better than those. They were like a step up from that, but they were still pretty far down that value chain. You know, it wasn't like buying an A custom. You know.
Oh, I will never forget my first A custom.
Oh, no, see that? That's there you go. I will never forget my first A custom. There's a great quote right there.
I had pride of happiness. I'm pretty sure it was so sick because I always had just beat ass cymbals. I think the first cymbal that I bought was or that was given to me was an old Paiste cymbals, and so all I had was a crash and hi hats. And I think the hi hats were they said they came with the Camco kit, so they were also very old. It was like Scimitar.
Yeah, okay. Oh, dude, that's so funny because all like the school drum sets, like I can remember in middle school, and it would like have like the ride cymbal was the scimitar and like one crash, or maybe the hi-hats. It was always like a scimitar ride. It was like actually billed as like a crash ride, and then like a set of hi-hats by them, and they were not the best cymbals, but they were again, low cost like entry-level student model cymbals.
Yep.
But I definitely remember that name. And it had like the scimitar on it. You know what I mean? It was like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, it's got a sword on it. It's got to be cool, right?
Jeez, yeah, my setup was beat at the time, and
You know, I my first kit was I don't know if Rich or you might know, but it was a CB 700. And like I think the kit they ended up still making like a lot of beginner kits that was like they just did it and it just had CB on it. But yeah, it was same thing. I mean, you know,
oh
just
yeah,
like
my uncle has one of those.
okay. Okay,
It's
well, if
like
you could imagine, like before they actually put just CB on there, they used to put like CB 700, and that's what it said like on the front head. And it's like, what is a CB 700? But those drums served me well for a long time. I played a lot of Nirvana. See, that was my thing, kind of mid
yeah,
90s, like grunge. And I played a lot of Dave Grohl licks on that kit.
my brother, my older brother, is the biggest Nirvana fan for sure. So I think you and him are definitely in the same music generation.
Definitely.
Even though he's a little older, but
Yeah.
so
Well, I mean, I knew a lot of older guys too, and actually, all the guys that I kind of started playing music with around the neighborhood, they were all about at least about a year older than me, so
okay,
kind of makes sense too.
there you go.
But getting back to it, so
So
you were playing a bunch of Blink 182 covers,
and
where
then
did you go from there?
we decided to try to do the talent show again in ninth grade, and we are gonna do another Blink song, but this time I was gonna be playing drums. And we tried out with I think it was Anthem Part Two, Blink 182, and so we went and we did it, and I remember I had to pick between I either had to do the talent show or go. I was playing soccer at the time too. I was kind of in between, like, I was like skating, playing soccer, playing drums, and I
Kind of came to a fork in the road there. He was like,
yeah,
okay, where am I going here?
the talent show came to be the same day as the second round of tryouts. Um, Second round of tryouts for soccer. So I had made the first cut to play on the high school team, and I saw the conflicting dates, and I was like, well, my soccer career is over. Let's go play the talent show.
Oh, that's funny.
But oh no, it gets better. We go and we play the thing and we crush it, and then we didn't make the cut for the talent show. So
Oh no.
I missed the soccer tryout, and I didn't get to play the talent show that year.
No. Well,
And
it didn't discourage you too much because you're sitting on Drummers I Like podcast here today. So
they,
there is a happy ending in here that we're going to get to
yeah,
hear. So
happy ending. Um, they the ladies that were like in charge of like judging and seeing who got in and who didn't, they felt bad, but they let us play during our lunch one time. So brought all the gear to school, and so there was like a little stage in the cafeteria, and we sat and we just played Blink and Newfound Glory covers for a half an hour, and just it was kind of like a karaoke because we didn't have a singer, so people would come up and try to sing the songs. Then it actually turned out to be really cool. So then we weren't bummed about not playing the talent show.
yeah, right.
Yeah, right. It all worked out. Good. So then from there, I think around that time is where I went to go do those those lessons with Sneeze, and I met these dudes named Johnny and Tanner at the music store where Sneeze was teaching out of. It was called Music Go Around, and I met those dudes, and they saw me playing with Sneeze, and they were like, "Hey, are you in a band? We're looking for a drummer." And that's where Three Star Hotel originated. Was that Music Go Around? So played my first show here in Salt Lake at a venue called Kilby Court. Very small spot, but it's pretty cool. It's got a lot of character, and like I think it's like one of like the classic places to play. Like I've seen so many. I saw from first to last there. Um, I've seen Black Dahlia there. Like a lot of cool play. It's like a very small room. I think it's like 150 cap room.
Very cool.
Very small spot. So we played our first show, and it was awesome. And then I think for like another year, we did shows here and there. We didn't play a ton of shows before, like I said, I went into my little emo phase. And then I think then I want to say that I went back to wanting to play guitar in a band. So, mom's upset again. I started playing breakdowns with my friends, and I was playing in this band called Chaldeon, and it was like a very Norma Jean-esque band. And then I think I did that for another year. So at this point, I'm a junior in high school. And then come senior year, I met some friends in Pocatello that ended up asking me to join their band, and they were like on another level of local band because they had backing and they had good songs. Everyone in the band was good at what they were doing. They were called Death in December, and it was just a screamo band. And they're like, move up here to Pocatello. We're gonna go record with I think I want to say, I can't remember it was a big time producer that they had booked for a single, and it was gonna be like 10 grand or something ridiculous. So they're like, feeding me all this crazy stuff. So I was like, oh fuck yeah, this is it.
All right.
This is it. So the dudes drove down to talk with my parents because I was like, yo, there's no way that I can just talk to my parents and they're going to let me drop out of school and move out of state.
Yeah, they're not going to be okay with this.
So the dudes drove down, and we talked with my parents for about 2 hours, and then they were like, all right, well, you can go. And I couldn't believe it. I was like, are you kidding me? So that day I grabbed, just a backpack full of shit. And Pocatello is really close to here. It's about like a 2 hour drive, maybe 2.5 hours.
Okay.
So I grabbed just a few things because we were gonna come back the following weekend. So we bailed, and I started playing with those guys, and I had to learn. We were going to record. They came down like at the beginning of the week, and we were heading to San Diego at the end of the week to go record with. We ended up not doing the single with the big producer because for the same price, we were able to do a full album with Don Lithgow. And for anyone,
way better value there.
Huh?
Way better value there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And for anyone that doesn't know Don Lithgow, he did a lot of. He did Unwritten Law, he did Newfound Glory, and he did some Blink-182. He did a lot of pre-production for Blink-182, and he did. He was doing some stuff with Finch, and so he'd done some big stuff. The studio was super nice, and so I had 3 days to learn 12 songs to have them ready to record. So. Man, I've never played drums for that long in my life. Like it was literally like 15 hours straight, just jamming these songs, trying to get them embedded in my brain. And so finally we drove down, and it was super sick. We set up the kit. I used Alex Pappas What It Is to Burn OC snare. And I was, fangirling about that. I thought that was so cool. And because his whole kit was there, his whole OC kit was there. And I used that snare on most of the record. It was a really cool experience because that was the first time I'd been like in a legit studio doing a legit recording, and we used like 7 different snares throughout the thing. We switched out cymbals for like every other song. Like we did all sorts of weird shit, and we were staying at the studio because right next to the studio in the same building, he had rehearsal spaces. So we stayed in the biggest rehearsal space, and there was a kit there, and I just played drums like all the time. We stayed down in San Diego for about, I think it was almost 2 months that we were down there recording, and I made it. I recorded my parts. It didn't take me forever. I think we ended up doing 12 songs in like 5 days, I think, or 4 days. So it wasn't ridiculous, and I learned a lot from that experience being down there, and being. I turned 17 while we were at the studio. So that for not being in school and doing that shit when you're 16 is super fucking cool. So I was on cloud nine that whole time, and we met some locals, and we'd go hang out. We went to the beach all the time because after I was done recording, I just hung out literally the rest of the time. I was so fresh to the band that I didn't really have any input on anything because I just didn't want to overstep my boundaries. The songs were good, and so I just hung out the rest of the time. Then we went back to Pocatello, and then I came back to Salt Lake to like officially drop out of school and gather all my things because I was like, all right, I'm definitely gonna go to Pocatello. And I moved there. I was 17, and I was living. It was just me, and then like that house was super weird. There were so many people living there. It was our singer's parents' house because his parents lived in Washington. They said his parents helped us a ton with the band. They let us live there rent free. So it was me, the singer, Ryan. All right. I mean, honestly, I can't even tell you how many people lived there because there was just always people there. It was just a party house 24/7, and so that was cool. I was super broke all the time. I didn't have a job. I just played drums all day, and one of our roommates worked at Dairy Queen, and so at the end of his shift, he'd come home and he'd just bring like spare chicken strips and toast, and we ate a lot of that, and I ate a lot of sandwiches, a lot of ramen, and we didn't. That band could have been cool, but we did like one tour, and then we did one tour. We released the album, and then everyone's started like letting it go to their heads, and so I wanted to start writing new stuff. I wanted to keep jamming because I was literally just excited to play music, and since everyone else was in their early to mid 20s, everyone's about 5 years older than I was, and so everyone's like drinking all the time, just partying super hard. And after being there for a year, we literally we played like some shows here and there, and after a year of not really doing anything, I decided to bail and move back home. So I bailed on that. I moved home, and then I kind of didn't do anything for a little bit. And from there, I met some friends that lived in Boise, Idaho, and I drove up there for the weekend just to hang out. And then I ended up jamming with some friends. I went back to guitar again, and jamming with some friends.
I'm calling.
Yeah. Oh man, you won't believe the phone call I had to make. We ended up playing this show. I went up there to stay for like a week, I think, and I jammed with these guys. We played a show, and it was a battle of the bands to open for Chiodos. And I had never, at that point in my life, I'd never opened for like a big band before. So I thought it was the coolest thing ever. So I called my mom and I was like, Mom, I have to stay here for a little longer because we won this Battle of the Bands thing. We're going to open for a big band. So I have to stay here another 3 weeks because that's when the show is. And she was like, she was losing it. But in the end, she was like, fine, you're going to do what you're going to do. And so I hung out in Boise. Again, literally not doing anything, just hanging out for 3 weeks. We played the Chiodo show. It went really well. And then that band also just didn't do anything. And I just kind of hung out in Boise for about a year and a half. Playing guitar, yep. And I never went home after. Like, I told my mom, I said, I'm going to Boise for a week. And I ended up staying for a year and a half. And that's where I met my wife. And that was a big part of why I stayed. Because we just hit it off and it was awesome. And she was like my first real girlfriend. So stayed there, hung out with her, made some good friends, learned a lot of life lessons. And then I just spent all my money. I had lost my car. And I was like, all right, it's time to move home. I'm defeated. I got to go. Moved back home. This is now 2008. And I was 19. And I just got a job. I started saving up money. I bought a car. Wasn't really doing anything with music because I didn't know what to do because I didn't know anybody. I had, from the point that I left to Pocatello and I lived in Boise, I had been gone from Salt Lake for like 2.5 years. So I was like completely disconnected from the local scene. The bands that I was jamming with, they were all gone. There was all these new bands, and now that's when Chelsea Grin started playing. So I didn't even know that Chelsea Grin was a thing. And so I got back into skating, and I skated for like 2.5 years. I didn't touch music at all. I had a kit at my parents, and I would play once in a while, but I didn't really play at all for a long time. And then finally just got back into it, and I couldn't find people to play with. So I just took it upon myself to just write and record demos as much as I could. And I had this really shitty recording rig where I had just one mic over the kit, and I would just record ideas into my Sony computer. And I think the DAW I was using was called Magix with an X. It was terrible. And I think I bought it for like $30 at CompUSA.
CompUSA.
Yeah, that was still around. Single mic over the kick, and just writing. And then my homie started doing recording, and he hadn't done a really big project yet. He had only done like singles and like a couple EPs. So he's like, yo, you should come do just the full length of all the stuff you've been writing. Mm-hmm. And I was like, yeah, that could be cool. I don't have any fucking money. He's like, we'll figure it out. And I had this friend that he wanted to start a record label, and he was like, let's do your album. I'll pay for everything. And then, he was like, pay me back. Like if we sell anything, I know that I'm going to lose all the money. I said, okay, cool. So we did the full length. I went in and just recorded everything on my own. And my plan was to just like release this, and then hopefully people would want to just come play with me, and then I could form a band that way. Uh-huh. And I found a drummer. I found a full band, like throughout the course of the recording, and so we named this band Becoming Everest. And I was playing guitar and doing vocals. Mom was
so you weren't drumming in that project.
No, I was not. I did the drums on the album, but I didn't do the ones on the recording. And that's when I met Jesus, who is my current drum tech, and he's been a good homie for a long time. That's also where I met Speed, our guitar player, and I was also playing with our singer was named Garrett. He sings in a band called The New Low, um, and it used to be Hearts and Hands. I don't know.
Just caught that band at Warped when I saw you. They were awesome.
Yeah, they're great. So I was in a band, all these guys that are now doing stuff too, which is great. And so that band, we just played a bunch of local shows. The same thing as every other band. Just did stuff, and then it just when it came time to do our first real tour, we booked it. It was good to go, and literally a month before we were supposed to leave, um, I or actually, let me backtrack a little bit. Also, in the studio where I recorded that's where I met Chelsea Grin for the first time.
Okay.
They went in there to do pre-pro for My Damnation, and they wrote My Damnation in that studio. And yeah, my friend Bucket, he was the engineer there. He's the homie. He was like, "Hey, the dudes from Chelsea Grin are here. I think you should come down and meet them, say what up." I was like, "Yeah, for sure." So I went in there and met all of them. And then Alex started hanging out with Bucket a lot. So that's kind of how I became tight with Alex. Was he was just we ended up having like hanging out with the same group of people, and they when they came time that they needed someone, I got a text from Alex asking me. He's like, "Oh, hey, I just heard that you play drums. We're gonna be looking for a drummer. If you just want to send me a couple of videos of these songs, we'll see what happens." And they wanted me to, or actually it was just one song. I had an audition with Lilith.
Okay.
And at this point, I hadn't played drums in like 2 years because I had been doing vocals and playing guitar and Becoming Everest. And so I was like, damn, I gotta really dust off my freaking. I was rusty as hell. So we were jamming in the storage unit. So I went down there every night to practice for like 3 weeks because aside not having played drums for about 2 years, I was never really fast with my feet. So I was really struggling to play Lilith. Mm-hmm. And I remember texting Alex and being like, "Hey, I'm getting the song down. I think I'm gonna film the video soon. Like, where should I send it? What do you want me to do?" And he didn't write me back. And at this point, I'd never toured, and now I understand. When you're on tour, you never text people back. I don't know what it is. It's like I'm always doing something, I feel like. So I get a text and I'm like either in the middle of like a meet and greet or I'm like at the merch table or doing something, and I look at the text and then I don't reply and then I forget to reply. So I didn't understand that concept. So I was like, whatever, he's not even texting me back, so it's probably not going to happen. So I left it alone. They were on the first sick tour. It was like a 7-week tour. So I think in those 7 weeks, Alex texted me like twice. So I wasn't convinced that they were going to need a drummer. Mm-hmm. And then he texted me and he's like, "Hey, I hope you film that video because I think we're really going to need a drummer." So at this point, I had forgotten the idea. So I was like, "Fuck." So I went back down and started playing again.
Crunch time.
Yeah, exactly. And I remember getting so frustrated just because I wasn't nailing it and it wasn't going very well, and I was super stressed out. My wife was there. She was like, "Yo, She gave me the words of wisdom. She was just like, "You gotta just calm down. You gotta get back in there. You gotta do it." Because she was filming me, So
She gave you like the halftime speech. She like brought you in and she's like, all right, here's the deal.
that's what
You gotta calm down, man.
so I finally did it. I played the song and sent the video, and then maybe a month before Warped Tour, they were like, "Yeah, we're gonna take you on Warped Tour. And
Oh,
we'll just play it by ear from there." And I was losing my shit. I was so excited. And at the time we were in Boise, just for I think it was for Memorial Day weekend. And so I was with my wife and my mother-in-law, and I remember just freaking out on the phone. We were in the store. They're like, "What happened?" I was like, "I'm going on Warped Tour." And I was freaking out, and we went and got hammered to celebrate.
nice.
And then it was just grinding from there because I had to learn all the other songs that were going to play on Warped Tour, and I had to get better at playing drums. I had to get back in. So we practiced a ton, and then we did Warped Tour, and then it worked out, not just like me being able to play the songs, but we all got along really well. So it was a really good fit. It felt like I should have been in that band for longer. I was like, how have I not been in this band? It feels like I've been in this band for years. We just all got along super well right off the bat. So, and now we're here.
What a story.
It's pretty
Come a long way,
Great
man.
story.
Yeah, very good story too.
a lot of crazy shit. A lot of moving, a lot of everything.
It's cool though, man. You're here now. You've definitely got the chops to sustain what you're doing. So, it's
Yeah.
definitely paid off. Definitely paid off for you.
Absolutely.
You there?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought I lost for a second.
No, I said I appreciate it.
Oh no, my bad. I didn't hear you. So what's new with Chelsea Grin now? What can we foresee for the future? You just did Warped Tour.
Just did Warped Tour. We just dropped Self-Inflicted,
Yes, you did.
and we were. I know that a lot of people were um, curious to see how it was going to be because it was going to be our first the first release without Jason. So there was a lot of speculation of what we were going to do. People were like assuming that we were just going to go back and just be super heavy and not be technical anymore. And people thought that it was going to suck. People thought it was going to be better. And, so.
Well, everybody's an expert and everybody thinks they know how it's going to turn out. You guys were the only ones that did, though.
We're the only ones that knew. But we just wanted it. Ashes to Ashes was a very hard record to play. And we realized, when Evolve first came out, that was like Chelsea Grin's first real technical songwriting, and that was thanks to Jason that he brought in that element. And everyone kind of got forced to get better at their instruments to be able to play the songs. So we're all grateful for that. But after playing, the cycle of Evolve and playing the cycle of Ashes, we were just exhausted of playing hard shit, because originally Chelsea Grin is just a heavy, simple band, and there's bands that have always been technical, like Boo, like Periphery, and that kind of stuff. So those guys enjoy playing technical, difficult songs, and we kind of, after 2 years, we were just over it because we'd go on stage, and I personally would just be stressed the fuck out because it'd be like, going from Playing with Fire into Pledge Allegiance into Lilith, like 3 just relentless songs on my feet, and on top of that, having to do the vocals and all that, we all kind of got tired of playing technical stuff. So when we started writing, for self-inflicted, um, Jason was writing, the same stuff, the same technical stuff, and we'd listen to his emails, and we'd kind of be like, well, we we'd be like, it's maybe simplify it a little bit, because we all wanted to play simpler music, but Jason's just a freak at guitar, so he needs to be playing.
There's always got to be a certain technical aspect to what he's doing.
Yeah, and that's cool, and that's why we split ways, because we weren't on the same page of what we wanted to write anymore.
Mhm.
So us four, that being everyone but Jason, wanted to do what self-inflicted turned into, just a simpler, heavier Chelsea Grin, and so that's when we decided to part ways, and then we really got into writing self-inflicted, because I had been writing some stuff, but I didn't really know what we were gonna do, because we didn't know if Jason would have wanted to play simple stuff, because we knew we didn't want to play the hard stuff. So it was kind of like I was writing, and then I kind of just stopped writing because I didn't know what we were gonna do. So we ended up, after we parted ways, then we really started the grind on writing, and it turned into what you hear today, and we're all super stoked about it. It's our Warped Tour set was like such a cakewalk that there was a point in time where it wasn't fun to be on stage for like 3 or 4 songs where they were just so hard to play, but
Now you can just sit back and almost stretch out. I mean, it's all feels though. You know what I mean? And
sure.
and that's such a big part of music. I mean, we've had plenty of guests, and that's one of the big things that we talk about is, it's not overplaying. I mean, granted, when you're playing, especially technical metal, you're not really overplaying. That's how you play drums to that kind of music.
Yeah.
But when you get back and you can just kind of enjoy playing, kind of a simple, kind of basically a 1 and 3 on the kick, 2 and 4 on the snare, and just make it feel really good. I mean, that's super fun to play too. You get the same kind of feeling playing something like that you do playing something technical and challenging to me. You know what I mean?
I agree.
So, I mean, I think that's great. I mean, just stepping back like that. I mean, and like you say, it's so much easier to kind of get through some of those times on stage because, you're just sitting back and just feeling the groove and just slamming it down, but, you're not killing yourself.
Exactly, and it's just more fun to play that stuff, and it's easier to do vocals that way too. And I think that's still whose idea was it to have me do vocals? Fuck.
I like that.
I think I was trying to show off for the guys before I was officially put into the band, because they were like, man, we want to play these, because our old guitarist Michael used to do a lot of the backups, and since he left, no one has really done them. And I was like, oh, I can do vocals. And they're like, well, you play drums? And I was like, yeah. And I was just showing off, and now I'm stuck fucking doing vocals all the time.
I used to do all the screaming vocals in my first band.
You were the lead vocalist?
No, no, no. I would do all the backups, but they laid me with a lot. They're like, just do it. Just do it. I wasn't playing nearly anything like you were at the time, but I did. I did a little bit. I wanted to point out, too, Pablo, real talk. I've never been the biggest fan of Chelsea Grin. And
Yeah.
I wasn't a fan in the beginning, and then when Jason came in, I thought maybe I'd get into it, and I was even more turned off. And I'm like born again fan now because I'm really into the new stuff. I think that because you've maybe went more back to the roots or the simplification that you've taken, it's just I think it allows your band to be a little bit more natural. And I saw it live when we saw you in Pomona. We really felt like me and Zach both were like, wow, this is actually really fucking sick. I'm like in line getting something to eat, and your set starts, and I'm like, who the hell is that? And I look back, and I'm like, oh shit, it's Chelsea Grin. We gotta get over there now.
That's what we want people to feel when we start playing.
So maybe you're gonna get. Hopefully, you're bringing on a new, a bigger fan base now because, I feel like I have a really opinionated ear, and sometimes I'm a dick about it, and it really turned my head. I've been listening to this newer album, and the the songs are good. The songs are really good. The one you have the video for, I think it's Broken Bonds. Am I saying it right?
Oh. Yeah, Broken Bonds.
I love that song. I think it's nasty. It's just not. It's good. It's a good.
Yeah.
It's not. I wouldn't even say it's not technical. I mean, I that's a very subjective term to me too. And for what some people isn't technical, it's very technical for others. And you know, maybe when you get on the faceless level, we can talk super technical. But you know what I mean. I think this is fairly not simple in terms of being able to play this fluidly. It's easier on the ears maybe compared to what Jason was doing, but this is definitely. I think it's a better sound. I really like it.
Yeah, I think for Chelsea Grin, this is what works. I don't think Chelsea Grin was ever meant to be a technical band.
There's too much of that shit now, anyways. Every time I turn my head, there's a new band that's like.
Sometimes you're just like, I just want to chill. Yeah, I just want to chill.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited about it. People seem to like it. People were really excited about it when we first put out the first single, Skin Deep. It did really well, and
It's a sick one too.
the first time we played it live, that was the first time that we had played a new song where people already knew the words and were just screaming them really loud, and that was like a new thing for us. We were like, holy shit, this hasn't happened. I mean, since I joined the band, that had never happened. It didn't happen with any of the Ashes songs or anything like that. So then I think that's when we knew that we were on to something good, and we were super excited about it. And now I'm just looking forward to the next album already.
That's awesome. Have you actually already started doing the writing process for it?
No, not yet. I think about it every day. I'm like, I got really inspired on Warped Tour. Just there was a lot of really good bands on Warped Tour, and every day I'd be like, "Fuck, I want to write." Just after like watching someone sick, regardless of like what style of music they played, if they were just say like the band The Airs, they were crazy good at Warped Tour, and after I watched them, I was like, I want to write some shit. And I say it every day, and I just haven't yet. But I'm gonna start writing soon.
That's what's up. You know what? I on every tour that I've done, I've always felt the same way. As jumping on what Kevin said about us kind of a lot in common. I definitely don't play guitar to the extent of you do, but I always write. I'm always writing guitar, be it through GarageBand or through when my close friend Tom, he'll leave. I'm blessed to say that he'll sometimes leave like a nice Axe Effects and his PRS guitars, and he's got a little Kiesel too, and I'll get to screw around on those. I'm always trying to write when I hear always, especially with all the new bands. Even at Warped, I felt that what was it, the New Low, that band really struck me. I was like, wow, I've never heard of them, and then now I'm an avid list. I'm listening every day to that band, and that's super cool that you were so that the musician pool was so connected.
Yeah, it was crazy.
I mean, you guys are on Warp together, so you got your buddies on tour with you.
Together, and like their bass player Fletcher, he played in a pop punk band called Madison Lights when he lived in Idaho Falls, and then so my band Becoming Everest, we did a lot of shows with them. So it's cool to see homies succeed,
Absolutely.
like homies that you were grinding with, doing the local grind with. When we first brought Speeve on, that was really cool because he's super talented, great guitar player, and he had been playing in this band here called Consumed by Silence, and he had written this song that made it onto Ashes, but he wasn't in our band yet. He just had a really sick song. I think it's track 5. It's called Nightmares. Speeve wrote that before actually being in the band, and we used it on the record. And I think that was pretty cool for him at the time. And then after that, I think we brought him out. He actually worked his way up the food chain completely. I think he did one tour with us as merch, and he was not very good at merch. So, but we like having him around. Well, obviously, me, we've been friends for a long time. He's one of my best friends. So I was excited to have him out, and he got along well with the other guys too. So we're like, all right, well, merch isn't going to work out. Do you want to try guitar teching? So then he moved up to being our guitar tech he did that for a year and a half. And then when we announced that Dan was going to be in school and he wasn't going to be able to tour with us as much, then we were like, all right, well, now you're going to fill in for Dan. And then so he moved from merch to tech to fill in. And then when we parted ways with Jason and when we officially were like, or that was shortly after, sorry. I think we put him in the band and he did 2 tours and then we parted with Jason and then, so it was cool that he did that.
Yeah,
Got the homie in the band.
Yeah.
So
Richard,
yeah.
I think we're getting pretty close to it, man. I think it's time for the last segment of our show here tonight, which is as always the rapid singles. What do you think?
Yeah, I was gonna say it's one of those conversations again where we're just this is much better than an interview, man. It's been awesome to sit here and just chat music with you, chat drums, learn a lot about you, and yeah, Kevin, you're right. We definitely gotta get on this lightning round because we're cutting it close.
It's been like an hour and a half.
Yeah, just about.
Right.
My wife's like sending me messages. Yeah, what's going on?
Is everything all right in there?
Dinner, or I'll kill you.
Same time.
That's right. That's right.
So yeah, let's get into this lightning round. Let's knock it out, and yeah.
So how does this work again?
So we're gonna run through 6 questions.
Okay.
The first 5 are relatively simple, and the 6th question is meant to kind of get you thinking. They're meant to be pretty quick answers, so you don't have to spend too much time answering them. But the idea here is to put you in situations where your answers definitely create some value for our listeners here. And with that being said, if you're ready, we can get this thing going.
All right, hit me.
All right, here we go. So we'll start with question 1. What was holding you back from becoming a successful drummer? So what was that hurdle you had to overcome to where you finally said, okay, I can do this now?
People. Just not playing with the right people.
Okay, so it was about finding the right musicians. That's what
It's
you really
about
had to
finding
find
the
that
people.
group.
Yeah, finding the people that wanted it as bad as I did. I was in countless bands where people wanted to play but didn't want to put in the work or put in the money or anything like that. So that's
Great. You're the first guest, I think, to answer that question with that, like that, and that is so true. I mean, there's so many guys out there that don't really have the passion and drive, but you got to find the right guys.
Yeah, you can't do it by yourself.
That's right.
Absolutely. That's an awesome answer. Let's get on to question 2. What is the best piece of advice you've ever received?
Learn slow. You mean as far as drumming, right? Not in life?
Yeah, absolutely. No, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like drumming
Yep.
advice.
Yeah, learn slow. Learn anything you learn that's new. You have to master it slow before you can do it fast. Else you're just never going to do it as good as you can.
Try and break it down. Break it down.
Yes. I've definitely been going down that path for the last 2 years, starting like 30 beat per minute on every exercise now.
Seriously.
I see you play. I see you do videos, and I hear that metronome click, and I'm like, wow, he is playing this slow.
Click.
That's how you do
Click.
it.
Yep.
That or the 6-stroke roll. When I was taught that, I used that roll more than any other rudiment in my playing. So that was another really good one.
That is a great one to work with. Let's get on to question 3. What is a personal habit that contributes to your success?
I guess working. Like, for example, when I'm at home, I work a lot on music just to not just sit at home and not do anything, So that's why I built my studio. And so I just work a lot at home so I can, and I work on tour. I don't know. I think working would be.
Yeah. Well, you have a good work ethic.
Yeah,
You know
good
what I
work
mean?
ethic.
Your work ethic and your discipline is on point, and that's helped you get to where you're at now, anyways.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. Yes.
Absolutely.
Drive.
Absolutely.
That is a consistent answer we hear
Yes.
for a lot of things on Drummers I Like podcasts. I'm very glad to continually hear it. It's hard work that really pays off. There's no easy cut corners here.
No.
Not at all. Okay, question number 4. Share a resource or tool that helps you survive as a drummer.
YouTube.
Ooh.
Nice. Nice answer.
Yeah, very good. I know a lot of people that
So
use that.
on YouTube.
I mean,
Any-
it is.
any-
It's a great resource.
Anything specifically?
A big one was the it's like an hour and a half or like an hour and 40-minute lesson with Thomas Pridgeon.
Oh, drum. That's on Drumeo. That's a Drumeo thing, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
I
yeah.
love
We've
that
watched
one.
that. We've watched that.
Me and my son watch those every Saturday morning. We make it a habit to watch Drumeo, and one of his favorites to watch is Prison. And it's always because that opener, and that opener track he plays is like 5 minutes long. Ugh.
God.
Ridiculous. I watch that thing all the time, and that video taught me a lot. Just there's so much that you can learn from other drummers, whether like even I watched I want to say it was on Drumeo too. It was Rich Redman, and he's more of he plays a lot on a lot of country stuff, but he has a lot of good shit to say. And there's definitely something you can learn from a lot of people, especially on YouTube, and not even just on Drumeo. Like even a lot of the undiscovered drummers that are just super talented, just crushing it, and they're just unfortunately not doing anything at the moment. So they, kind of like Luke Holland was back in the day before he got super big off.
Blew up.
Yeah, he blew up.
Word Alive. You can learn a lot from him. So I think YouTube is huge for. You can learn anything on YouTube. Anything.
That's awesome. Yeah, great answer. Great answer. So moving on to question number 5. And we're still trying to work the kinks out on this one, so we can be a little loose with it. So recommend just one book. Recommend a book. What would it be and why? Now, if it's not, it can be a lesson book, it can be a study book, it can be an ebook, it can be something online that you refer to, but something along the lines of reading material that you would recommend to other drummers.
You know what? How about this? Hold that thought. There is a book. I just don't remember the name because I've never owned it. But I'm gonna call Jeeves right now.
Live.
Showed it to me. And as long as he's not at work, he will answer and he'll tell me what it is. But it literally has it's a huge book, and he carried it around with him all the time. Yo, hey, I'm doing a podcast right now, and I was asked what is a book I would recommend to a drummer. What was that book that Ben lent you that you carried around for years?
I can't remember, man.
Dude, don't embarrass me like this right now.
This is great. No, it's fabulous.
You can get online anywhere, unscripted.
Do you know what it's called?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's called Introduction to Linear Drumming.
Okay. Introduction to Linear Drumming. Hell yeah, dude, you're a lifesaver.
Yeah, Jeeves.
Say what up to
Shout out
Jeeves.
to Jeeves. Shout
What
out
up,
to Jeeves.
Jeeves?
Coming through.
Save the day.
Hell yeah, thanks, dog. Later. And you have to check him out. His Instagram is at Jesus Everest.
Oh, that was your drum tech. Jesus, that's what you had said.
He is ridiculous, man.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
Definitely. We'll put it in the notes too. Everyone check out
Absolutely.
at Jesus Everest.
It's
Tech.
I'm gonna hit you with a quick story about him. He when I first met him, he was 15, or he was turning 15, and he wanted to play in Becoming Everest, and he had the fastest feet I had ever seen in person ever. But he was still super young. He wasn't very solid. His feet were just crazy. And I was like, all right, maybe we can make it work. And he just, I taught him some stuff as he was playing in the band. And I was always, I was the older one, and it was like it was supposed to be. I was the older one giving him the advice, and then I disappear, with Chelsea Grin for 2 years, and then I come back, and he
He has been
literally
working, huh?
Oh man,
Nice.
around me now, bro. It's ridiculous how good he is, and it's cool because he's just been busting his ass. He goes to he we let him play in our rehearsal space, so he has his kit set up there, and he's there every fucking day for hours and hours and hours, just working on the craziest shit. Like he's got crazy independence. He's got the linear shit down. Dude can shed, and it's fucking awesome.
All those listeners out there that just heard that.
Playing them now.
Oh, Richard found him.
Oh, he's killing it.
Listen to that, dude. Listen to that. That's fabulous.
Damn, very good.
That's awesome.
He's an awesome drummer. You're right. Absolutely.
You know what's excellent with that is with that kind of a work ethic and doing what he's doing, it's not going to be long until he's going to be playing with somebody. He's going to be out doing his thing. That's a good point for our listeners. That story and hearing that kind of work ethic, because it's not long before you're going to be hearing about that guy playing in a band, and who knows, he might be on Drummers I Like podcast, and we'll be talking to him about that whole that whole route to success.
Yeah, very true.
I wonder how many people don't know that. Like, that's a perfect instance of the drum tech being better than the actual drummer, which is hilarious. Because they're behind the scenes, and when they're on stage, they just line check. So people don't really see how good they are. But there are so many techs that are so sick at playing drums, and Lonnie from Let Live, he used to drum tech for Tino from Up Mice. So, he was a sick enough drummer that he ended up playing drums for a band. So
plus when you're teching for somebody, I mean, you're in the circles, so they know you. You know what I mean? You know the guys in this band. You meet the guys in that band, and you have a chance to network, which is just super important.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, Rich, I think it's time for the dreaded question number 6.
Yes, here we go. Yep, drum roll, please. All right, Pablo, here we go. Imagine if you woke up tomorrow in a world exactly like ours. You still have all the same knowledge and all the talent as a drummer, all the knowledge you've learned in life. You are still you, but you don't know anybody. You have room and board covered, your food is covered. But all you have is $500, a smartphone, and a drum set with means to travel from gig to gig so you can play. What would you do first to get yourself back out there?
I would travel. I would be one of those drum guys on the street. I would go to New York, and then I would just fucking jam in Times Square. That's what I would want to do. Now, is $500 going to get me there? I don't know. But maybe I'll play a gig or two along the way. Maybe even, you know what, actually, now that I really think about it, I would go to Nashville, and I would just try to jam with people there. Because I have this thing right now where I really want to jam some country.
Really?
Yeah. And I think that's my start right there. I'll go to Nashville, and I'll play some local clubs with some country guys.
Well, I mean, there's some fabulous drummers, and I mean that area is the mecca. I mean, if you can make it there, you can make it anywhere. So,
Right?
It's true. I mean, that is true. I mean, that there, it's one of those just hotbeds of music. You go there, there's going to be a drummer around every corner. If you're going to stand out in that kind of town and you really want to go for it, you definitely got to put in your work.
This drummer I love. I believe he's out in Nashville. He plays for Carrie Underwood. His name's Garrett Goodwin. Mm-hmm. I think he's a good example of an awesome country drummer. You know, next to people like Rich Redmond. But
Well, here's
kind
another
of heard
one. I'm
about
not
his
sure.
story, but he's from Nashville, and he's
Yeah,
heard a lot of things
yeah.
about Nashville just from
Yeah.
following him.
Another one is Jim Riley that played with Rascal Flatts. I mean, that guy is a
Oh,
fabulous drummer.
Such a boss, dude.
Dude, such a great drummer.
Yeah, he
And,
is.
I mean, and honestly, I mean, there's plenty of people that, and it's a terrible thing to be closed-minded musically. If you're going to call yourself a musician, you've got to be open-minded. But I mean, you see Rascal Flatts play on a stage, it looks like every single guy on that stage, including Jim Riley, is having the time of their life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that, who wouldn't agree that that is going to be a good time?
No,
You know,
absolutely.
maybe I don't throw Rascal Flatts in my CD player when I'm driving here or there, but I will stand on stage and play that music all day long.
Oh yeah.
For sure.
You
And
know?
they're great songwriters. My wife just forced country on me for like the last year, and there's a lot of good songs out there that I can personally say that I actually do enjoy, and that'll
Good
piss
music
off
is
some of
good
my
music.
fans.
Man, I grew up on Garth Brooks.
Yeah.
Garth Brooks, great songwriting, great songwriting. That guy, he looked up to James Taylor, who wasn't really even a country guy.
Wow. Yeah, he
So.
is a fantastic. All his live bands too are just phenomenal. I can't recall off the top of my head who's playing with him right now, but
My wife just got to see him. She went to one of his shows earlier this year, and he sold out our basketball arena three nights in a row. So sick.
whoa. I think he's
Wow.
got a show in Vegas right now too.
Damn. Yeah, see, I'd love to see that. I haven't been. I'm yet to go to a country show, and I think actually on my birthday this year, Carrie Underwood's playing here in Salt Lake, and I think my wife's gonna take me. I'm just guessing right now. I'm gonna get back to you later.
Wifey, if you listen to you got to listen to this podcast because you're going to get a hint on what you're going to be doing soon.
Oh,
Underwood, let's go.
That's right. See,
here's good luck.
you should throw hints to your wife like, I think you should listen to the podcast that I just did.
Hey,
I think you'll really like it, especially toward the end.
That is awesome.
That's good stuff.
I mean, back to the question. I think I'd want to go and just jam with people in a club, and use my $500 to get there. You said I can play drums, right?
Yes,
So,
absolutely. You have it. You are still you.
You're still shredding.
I just don't know anybody. Do I have a car?
Yeah. You have a means to get. We don't really address that issue like in detail. We're still working the bugs out of these.
If the gig's in Nashville, then the gig's in Nashville. The ride's there. It could be.
Yeah.
It could be a paid Uber car for a year. It could be a friend. Who knows? But it's covered, hypothetically.
Take it.
To be honest, your answer is a very realistic and a good answer in general because as many ways as you put it, it's not a stupid idea. I know a lot of people personally have traveled to Nashville that are there right now trying to make their music career work because they thought the same thing.
Yeah.
There's tons of people go there. They get to a point in their, or in their area, or like say, like in my instance, or at least my town's instance, Vero Beach. It's not a big area. I mean, we do have a good scene. We are, right on the East Coast, so there's a lot of good places near the beach and on the beach to play. But, there's only so far you can kind of get, depending on the pool of music and musicians that you have in your immediate area. And if you can go and you can put yourself in the middle of a mecca of that Nashville is, then, you're in the hardest environment to succeed. So you just have to push yourself to succeed.
Yeah, you got to work hard to get it, and
Yeah, very hard.
If I wake up and I don't know anybody and that's all I got, then I got nothing to lose by going out.
Yeah, right.
Right. Yep. Exactly.
Great point. Great point.
One of the first things I thought about when I asked myself this question, like, well, the first thing is I really have nothing to lose, so I can go wherever I want. I just have to be strategic here.
Yeah, that's true.
Damn.
Well, Richard, Pablo, I think we're coming to a close here. I think that's going to be a heck of a show here.
I know, man. We're getting some awesome lightning rounds too, Pablo. Great job there. Really good answers.
Yes, very much so.
You there? Hello?
Yeah.
Sorry, I keep getting audio cuts. I don't know why. I want to fix it in post, but yeah, man. the lightning round went good, and I just got to say thanks again for coming on the show. This has been a great conversation and much more of a hangout rather than an interview, which is some of the best drummers I like episodes have been because of that same reason. So I just can't thank you enough.
No, thank you guys, man. I'm glad it worked out.
Yeah, we're definitely trying to get on that conversational type of setting, and it's worked out good. And this is definitely one of the better, as they've all been developing, but this is definitely going to be a great episode. So can't wait for feedback on our reviews from all our listeners. So make sure you get in there and do that.
Yeah.
I just love making new friends too, Pablo. Just awesome to bring you into the crew.
Yeah, I'm glad. Do I have to get jumped in or anything?
No, but we do have to come see you live and film you. So,
all right. Oh yeah. Is our next tour going? It's going to Pomona. We're doing Glass House.
I think I'm like right in LA. So wherever you're close to me, I'll come. I'll be there. We'll do some live videos. It'll be badass.
Somewhere in November. I think it's like November 3rd or something.
Oh, see, that's coming up, Richard. You better get it on the calendar.
Shit, I'm going out of town that month too. We'll work it out. We'll make it happen.
Coming to Florida at all, Pablo?
Yeah, we're doing. I think we're doing Orlando.
There we go.
Lauderdale, I think.
Yeah, probably the Plaza Live and Culture Room. Just a guess. Or Revolution.
Culture Room. I think Culture Room's sick.
Yeah. I love that venue. I miss Florida for that reason. I love those venues. Yeah. Right on the beach. Super cool. Good breeze.
Florida life.
Yeah. Whatever.
We're doing Orlando at a place called I don't know how to pronounce it. It's Beacham. Beacham. I don't know.
Beacham. Okay, I've heard of the Beacham. Yeah, isn't that right next to something? No, maybe not.
It's right next to the Social.
Is it? Okay.
Next door, directly next to.
That'd be a good venue. That would be a cool venue. We'll have to make some plans and get out and meet you in person, Pablo.
That corner has the closest to New York pizza I've ever been able to find in Florida. So
check that out.
I know what I'll be doing when Chelsea Grin's in Orlando then.
That pizza.
Is this to you? Is it Orlando? Because we're also doing Tampa and Fort Lauderdale.
Okay. Well, I mean, for me, Orlando's pretty central, so that's a great town. Orlando's always fun.
Kevin will see you in Orlando.
Yeah.
Tampa's fun too. Tampa's fun too. Normally their shows are in Ybor City and Tampa, and that's always a good time too.
Ybor is beautiful. So Pablo, I want to just give you a little space here before we close the podcast out to give any shout outs, of course, to friends, sponsors, anybody in the band, anything you got to say. Now is the time.
All right.
Also, let our listeners know where they can find you.
Check us out at chelseagrinmetal.com. You can also purchase tickets there for our upcoming tour with Attila, the Chaos Tour. It's a full U.S. tour. Come to a show. Come hang out. Come meet me at the merch table. Check out Self-Inflicted. Pick it up on iTunes and any music retailer. And then shout out to my backers, my sponsors, Zildjian, Remo, Vic First, DW, and Drum Dots. I couldn't do it without you guys, and I really appreciate the support.
That's great. Good, all good companies.
Yes.
Yeah, great companies. I would say they're the best, personally.
That's right.
That's awesome, man. That is awesome. And we'll definitely have links for those in the show notes, how to get the album, how to get tickets to the tour, definitely to your personal social media pages, which I think it's Pablo Grin, right? Is that the Instagram tag?
This Pablo Grin was taken. Bastards.
Who has Pablo Grin? We're going to find them.
Oh, damn it. Give it up. Oh, yeah. Yo, this was awesome. I appreciate being on here.
Yeah, it was a good time. We can't thank you enough. It's going to be a good show. So.
Hell yeah.
Awesome, Pablo. So we will be in touch, and we'll be seeing you on tour, man. Thanks again for your time today, and it was a blast. Seriously.
Hell yeah. Thank you guys so much. We'll talk soon then.
All right, dude. Absolutely. We will talk soon.
Take care.
Peace.
All right, good night.
Later.
Whoa, what a show that was.
Another one in the books.
Yes, episode 16. Locked Down with Pablo Viveros. Man, that was great. He's another one of those. I could have just talked for 2 hours conversations. I think that was 2 hours. Shit, but I felt like that conversation was just. If I didn't stop it, my wife was going to not stop blowing me up to get home for dinner. So
Well, gotta eat, gotta eat.
Gotta
But yeah, no,
eat,
it's a
bro.
great show. Super happy with it. Pablo is the man, and I really liked his rapid singles segment. He really got through it quick. He really definitely was just, as soon as we'd end the question, it was like first thing that came to his mind. So
I love that too.
yeah, that's great. So, very cool, very cool. Lots of good
A lot
stuff
of
in there
value
for,
too.
what was that?
A lot of value from that too.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. That's
It's
what those
cool.
questions are for, my friend.
Yeah, I know, man. It's just cool to hear how his story was just it got him to where he is now, but it was so he had so many hurdles to overcome and he just never gave up. And also really sick that his drum tech Jesus, right? Is that right? Did I
Oh,
say that
that's
right?
yeah, that dude, that was great. It
Right?
was almost like
Nasty
the
drummer.
call a friend lifeline. You know what I mean?
Right.
He had to call a friend.
Right. And it's cool that there's like the relationship they built and continued to grow is like a team, like a drum team. He's his tech. He's you
Yeah.
know it's just cool, man. That kind of relationship is just it's invaluable. And you know, if you got a sick, awesome friend that plays drums and you're making it, you better make sure to pay it forward and bring him on tour with you as a drum tech because that is the shit, man. That is a really cool thing to do. And to see the videos of him playing, man, I was just kind of blown away. So kudos to Jesus, and we're gonna bring you on the show one of these days, buddy.
We're definitely going to keep track of his playing because that little bit that we got to hear today was sick.
Yeah, I admittedly was watching many more videos as this conversation was happening, and he is really good. Like he is like really good. So I'll just shut up because I could say it a million more times, but he's really good. So go watch him play.
Thanks again to Pablo for introducing
Yeah,
us to Jesus and also having him on the show kind of in an impromptu way.
yeah, that was pretty cool, man.
That
Now
was very
gotta get his number so that every other guest that comes on can hit him up for quick last minute calls because
cool.
he's holder of knowledge.
That's right. We'll make it the call Jesus section.
They call Jesus section. I love that.
Oh, that's great.
Man, well, I mean, I can't justify the show anymore. If you have time, listen to it again because that was just a lot of information. I'm going to be listening to it all week just to try to really hard code some of this in. But before we do close this off, I want to remind our users once again. Actually, you know what, Kevin? Where can everybody find us? Let them know.
It's easy. It's just at drummers I like. Facebook/drummers I like, YouTube/drummers I like. You can find us at drummers I like on Instagram, Twitter's at drummers I like. So as long as you know our name, which we hope you do by now, I think you'll know where to find us.
We're on every single social media channel you could ever think of. We're even on jackandbobschainsaws.com/drummers I like. So go check it out.
That's probably not real, but that's okay.
You never know. If it is,
There
we'll link
may
it
be.
up now.
We need to find out about it if it is.
Yes, and please go leave a review. We
Very important.
we can't stress that enough. And go and subscribe to the mailing list because we're about to launch a whole new campaign with the mailing list. We'll be giving you free stuff every week, cool invites to new events that we're doing, cool everything to new everything that we're doing. That's everything that's new. It's going to be really sick. So stay tuned. We are putting a lot of work into this operation over here at Drummers I Like more than ever, and we cannot wait to just keep giving back to the drummers out there. So please leave a review, subscribe, follow, listen, love. We love you. So it's worth it. It's worth it. We promise.
Yes, worth it. Definitely.
Yes, and a big thank you to Kevin. A big thank you to Zach, Brendan, Tyler, and Diana especially, man. I don't know if anyone's caught the new graphic look at Drummers I Like, but it definitely a big shout out to Diana for killing the graphics game. Definitely, just bringing a new flavor to the game, and we're super stoked about it. So a big shout out to her. A big shout out to the rest of the team again. Kevin, thank you so much.
Thank you, Rich.
You have a good night, and have a good night.
You too. Good
All
night.
right. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.